Chapter 2, verse 242, I'm going to read. Doth God make clear his signs, ayat, to you, in order that you may understand? So he makes the signs clear so you can understand. Chapter 11, verse 1.
This is a book whose verses are well perfected and then fully explained.
Okay, now notice your translation says, this book is fully explained, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, go to chapter 15, verse 1.
15:1. It's a clear Quran.
So the Quran is clear, right? Nothing unclear about it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now go to chapter 6, verse 55 of the Quran.
This is how we make our signs clear.
The signs, you can look at the word. That's the word ayat. That's what you call the verses of the Quran, because each verse is supposedly a sign from Allah. It's a miracle. So we explain the ayat in detail, clear. Now, a few more, and I'm going to show you where the contradiction is. Now go to chapter 6, verse 97 to 98.
We have already made the signs clear for people who know. And he's the one who originated you all from a single soul, then assigned you a place to live and another to be laid to rest. We have already made the signs clear for people who comprehend.
Okay, so you see, clear. We made it clear. So there's no confusion, no ambiguity, so that you can comprehend. Clear, detailed. Now, go to chapter 6, 114.
Say, O Prophet, should I seek a judge other than Allah while He is the one who has revealed for you the book with the truth perfectly explained?
Perfectly explained, right? Okay, so something that's clear, so you can understand, perfectly explained means there's no confusion in it. No ambiguity. Perfectly explained. My translation, Ali Khan, explained in detail. All right, now, chapter 12, verse 111.
In their stones, there is truly a lesson for people of reason. This message cannot be a fabrication. Rather, it is a confirmation of previous revelation, a detailed explanation of all things, a guide and a mercy for people of faith.
Did you catch it? It says a detailed explanation of everything, right? Did it say some things or everything? Meaning everything in this book, right? This revelation, right?
A detailed explanation of all things.
So this Quran is a detailed explanation of all things, meaning all things mentioned in it, right?
Uh-huh.
Now here's your contradiction. Your contradiction is chapter 3, verse 7. This one's a major one because now you're going to have problems when I explain it to you. Chapter 3, verse 7.
He is the one who revealed to you, O Prophet, the book of which some verses are precise. They are the foundation of the book.
Not too fast. Some verses of the Quran are precise or ahkamat, okay, and they are the mother of the book, al-Kitab. Keep reading.
Some are allegorical, you mean?
Well, that's your translation, but that's fine. Others are allegorical. Finish it. Okay, what does it say? Others are allegorical.
Elusive verses seeking to spread doubt through their false interpretations, but none grasp their full meaning except Allah.
Okay, wait, none do what again? Some verses are allegorical. Who knows what they mean?
Allah.
Anybody else? Does anyone else know what they mean?
Just Allah.
Okay, now you have a contradiction. All the other verses you read, it said that the Quran is a book that explains all things, perfectly clear. It explains all its verses, all things. You remember? Here it says there are verses allegorical. Only Allah knows what they mean. You have a contradiction, buddy. Reconcile that for me. Go ahead.
I just wanted to make a note for
okay,
the time
leave a note. And related to that is, if the Quran, there are some verses that are clear and other verses that are allegorical. That means you must know what those allegorical verses are so you don't focus on them and create fitna. That's what the Arabic says, create fitna, because that would show that you have a perverted heart. Because those unclear verses, allegorical, only Allah knows what they mean. Don't focus on them. Where's the list of verses where Allah tells you these are the clear and these are the allegorical so you can avoid the allegorical? Where does the Quran give you that list?
At first sight, because I'm ignorant, I cannot answer that question.
Nobody can, because nowhere in the Quran does it tell you. Your most learned scholars won't tell you because they don't know the Quran doesn't tell you. But then I have another question. Why would Allah even waste his time revealing unclear verses, allegorical verses, that no one knows what they mean except him? Of what benefit is there in sending down verses that no one knows what they mean? How does that benefit anyone?
I don't know.
Thank you. Chapter 17, verse 1 of the Quran. I got a lot.
Glory be to the one who took his servant Muhammad by...
Okay, by the way, your translation is adding words. The word Muhammad is not there. The Arabic doesn't say Muhammad. It says, glory be he who took his servant by night. So don't read what's added in parentheses and brackets. That's not in the Arabic. You can see the Arabic. It doesn't say that.
Glory be to the one who took his servant by night from the sacred mosque to the farthest mosque, whose surroundings we have blessed, so that we may show him some of our signs. Indeed, he alone is the all-hearing, all-seeing.
Okay, now, The Quran just said it's perfectly clear. It explains everything in it, all things in it, perfectly clearly. That's what it said in those verses. Then it contradicted itself. So if the Quran is perfectly clear and explains all things, can you tell me just from the Quran who that servant is? Do you have the answer for that just from the Quran?
We know the Prophet.
Prove it. How do you know that? Where did the Quran say it's the Prophet? Why are you reading later hadiths into this? Because when you go to the hadiths, it's going to embarrass you. That's why I'm saying be careful. Don't run to the hadith. So from that verse alone, can you prove to me it's Muhammad?
We can't take a Quran verse in isolation of itself without.
Okay, I'm not taking isolation. I'm reading it in the Quran. Can you show me anything in your 114 chapters of the Quran that explains it? Because you're the one who told me in the comment section, no hadiths. I have it. Didn't you tell me no hadiths?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm now holding you. No,
But we know it's Muhammad.
How do you know that? Where did the Quran tell you it's Muhammad? The name Muhammad only appears 4 times in your entire Quran. Related to the same verse, it says, who took his servant by night from the inviolable mosque to the farthest mosque, Masjid al-Haram, Masjid al-Aqsa. Where is Masjid al-Haram? Can you show me from the Quran where and what is Masjid al-Haram?
It's in Saudi Arabia.
Where did the Quran say Saudi Arabia?
It doesn't say that, but I know Masjid al-Haram is mentioned.
And where does it tell you Masjid al-Haram is in Arabia? Secondly, what's the farthest mosque? Masjid al-Aqsa. Where is that at?
Jerusalem.
Where did the verse say Jerusalem? Why are you making things up as you go along? Where did that verse say Jerusalem?
Well, this verse doesn't say Jerusalem.
But the Quran told you it explains all things in this book. It's perfectly clear and perfectly clearly explains the verses. How come it fails to explain this verse for you? And it's less than perfectly clear.
No, but you're basically saying that the Quran doesn't explain that, or doesn't reveal that the farthest mosque is in Jerusalem.
Exactly. It doesn't. That's the truth. And doesn't tell you who the servant is. Maybe it's Moses. How do you know? Because Moses, if you're saying Jerusalem, Moses was in that area.
But the Quran mentions the name Muhammad.
The name Muhammad only appears 4 times. And it's mentioned in certain isolated places scattered throughout the Quran. So how do you know that whenever the Quran says, say, O Prophet, or the Prophet is not harsh with the believers, that's Muhammad? How do you know that? So without the hadith, answer those questions, especially when the Quran says it perfectly clearly explains everything in the book. You can't tell me the servant is Muhammad. It's most likely Moses because he's mentioned right away. And it's dealing with the Bani Israel, the children of Israel.